Hey guys, what's going on? Oh, it's been a while. I haven't checked in probably a couple weeks, maybe even close to a month. But it's been really hot out here, so I've been kind of doing other things other than outdoorsy things. Um, Also, I've just been busy. I went camping a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get a chance to record. So, anyways, I just wanted to catch up with you guys and let you know that I'm out here, and I'm gonna, against maybe better judgment, I'm gonna go out here and try a hike. It's about 80 degrees right now, but it's early in the morning, so I think it's going to get closer to like 110, 115 later today. So I started a little bit later than I wanted to, which is pretty pretty common actually. It's a running theme with me. But anyways, I'm going to be out here. I'm going to be heading out to the Flycatcher Trail. I'm going to have to hit the Toothaker and the Butterfield North Trail to get to there. So I'm not going to record the full time, but I'll pick up some highlights and I'll just check in with you guys, see what you're doing. And hopefully it won't get too hot out here, and so hopefully it's not going to be my last broadcast. So anyways, guys, great checking in with you, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay guys, this thing is for real. I might have overdone it this morning because I'm barely like 20 minutes into it. I've already drank a substantial amount of my water, so we'll see how this goes. It was pretty hot the last couple of days, but I kind of trained myself up a little bit by walking in the heat. But yeah, it's hot, and I actually just recognized that I forgot my compass, which might not be a big deal because it's a maintained park and I've got the trail map, so it should be okay. And then these are usually the trail intersections that work pretty well, so probably won't be that big a deal. But it's just funny when you think about it, because I mean I'm spent a long time getting prepared in the mornings, and probably spent too long actually. And I have a tendency to like overpack. So over the years, I've kind of gotten better at it. I've started trying to get a smaller backpack and started trying to limit myself to just the essentials. But it's funny that I forget the freaking compass, but I didn't forget the selfie stick. So that should tell you something about my priorities. Anyways, let me give you guys a view of this. It's still early on in the hike. This is I still think the Toothaker Trail, which if you watch any of my other videos, I think I've been on this trail before, and so the park's pretty empty because it's like a hot day today. It's expected to get really hot, so I'm gonna make this pretty quick. I don't think I'm gonna be out here too long because I don't want to risk running out of water and having a long way to hike back. But yeah, I can already kind of feel it because usually when it's not that hot, I can go well before I start drinking into my water. And today I felt like I started hiking it like after like 50 yards, I started drinking water, and I'm like, it's not a great sign, but we'll see. Shouldn't be too long of a hike, so I'll try to check in periodically so you guys can see what my status is and check in with me to see how I'm faring and what state of dehydration I'm in. So hopefully it'll be a safe time, but I'll check in with you guys, and if I do end up getting heat exhaustion out here, it might be some good content, so might work out either way. So I'll check with you guys later. Alright guys, I thought I'd show you this cool little section of the trail here. Just check in for a second. Nothing too spectacular. It's just a little, I don't know if you call this a switchback, because it's just a little turn here that goes off a ledge, but it is extremely hot out here today. Like, I don't know if I really realized how hot it was going to be when I left the house this morning. I also did something goofy along the way. I stopped at a gas station and I bought an orange juice, but then I also bought a breakfast taco. But it was the breakfast taco I got was chorizo and egg, which if any of you are familiar with chorizo, it's like a spicy breakfast sausage. It's kind of oily, kind of heavy. Seemed like a good idea at the time, but like now that I'm walking out here in the 100-degree heat in the desert, it's like, oh my god, what was I thinking? So we'll see how long I last before I start feeling nauseous or upset stomach. Hopefully it'll pass, or hopefully I'll be out of here before anything kind of like starts to settle in or starts to make its presence known. Here's a cool little view. Pushing here at this little ledge. Like I was saying, I left the house this morning and I thought, well, it's gonna be kind of early in the morning, and Yeah, it's the middle of July. Yeah, it's 100 and something degree heat. But I figured, well, you've been I'm walking the heat anyways, and I figured I'm kind of used to it by now, so I should be anyways. And I figured I have all this stuff that I need to be like safe. Uh, some things that are kind of like a little counterintuitive, but they make sense, I guess, if you think about it. Like I'm wearing like long sleeves, and you would think that when it's so hot outside that you would think that you'd want like less clothing. But I remember a few years back I actually made that mistake of wearing like a tank top and shorts when I went hiking in the middle of July, and I ended up getting heat exhaustion from too much sun exposure. So even though it kind of sucks having these layers on, they protect you from too much harmful exposure to the sun. And if you do it right, if you get the right kind of like, I guess what you call technical hiking clothing, it'll be lightweight and sweat wicking and all those things, so it won't feel as bad. I mean, obviously, I feel great right now to be in a pair of shorts and flip flops, but and the tank top, but it only feels great for a few minutes. After walking in the sun for a while, I would probably get severely sick. So, anyways, gonna make it out to the Flycatcher Trail. Should be a pretty short hike, but we'll see. I guess if it gets too dangerous out here, or it gets too like uncomfortable, I might just call it quits. But I'm gonna try to push myself to at least get to the Flycatcher, and then hopefully this chorizo and egg taquito I had this morning is not gonna rear its ugly head all day long. So let me give you guys another view of this. And I'm pretty sure I have been out here because I'm getting like a sense of deja vu. I believe I made a video out here before talking about how I thought this was a toothacher trail, but it's a toothacher trail actually. Anyways, it's still kind of early on in the hike, so I guess I'm gonna check in with you guys a little bit. I just wanted to kind of update you guys on my status, and I figure this way, if I end up getting sick later on, at least you guys were along for the ride and got to experience every stage of discomfort with me. So anyways, guys, see you in a few minutes. Alright guys, just checking in with you. It's still brutally hot, so I had to go a little bit of an audible. Actually took a wrong route when I came in. I was trying to hit the Butterfield Trail, but I guess I missed that intersection. I went down the toothacher further than I should have. But I was talking to another hiker right now. I just came across him. I didn't film him when we were talking, but he said the same thing. Yeah, he said the Flycatcher Trail is going to end up being like an 8 to 10 mile hike. So in this heat, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I'm like 2.5 miles into it, and it's freaking hot. Probably wasn't the greatest idea to come out here in the middle of summer, but I hadn't been out here in a while. My ankle had been injured for a few weeks, and then I've been busy with work, and then I also went camping a couple weekends ago. So I didn't do other things, and I just figured, well, it's maybe an okay time. I've been keeping up with my walking and all that, so I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be too out of shape. But not only is it hot, but man, that chorizo taco was probably one of the worst ideas I could have had this morning. Yeah, so that thing. So just advisory for anybody who's thinking about going hiking out in the middle of the desert in the summer. Stay away from these oily, greasy meats for like a good 24 hours before you go, because oh my god, with this heat out here, this thing seems pretty crazy. But so anyway, so I talked to this hiker, and he said the same thing. He was asking me what I was looking for, and I told him I was looking for the Flycatcher Trail. He was like, ooh, he gave me the same kind of response, like, yeah, it's you actually missed it. You would have been, we looked at the map and said, okay, I see where I should have gone, and I could hit the Flycatcher Trail a little bit earlier, but I can't still hit it. But he's like, yeah, it's a pretty good ways off. It's going to be a good 3 miles, and the trail itself, to get to that trailhead, and then the trail itself is like 1.5 miles, and so all in all, it ends up being like an 8 to 10 mile hike. And I'm already thinking about I might need to cut this short just because of the heat. But I'm already out here, and I'm not completely out of water, so I think I'm mainly just going according to my water situation. General rule of thumb is, whenever I get halfway down to my water, I start turning back around, heading back out. Um, I remember there used to be a sign somewhere. I forgot where I saw in one of these parks. I took a picture of it. I don't know where it's at though, but in the ranger center they had a sign that said, uh, "When your water's half done, so are you," which basically means like yeah, when you're halfway done with water, that means you need to start heading back because you've only got enough water to make it back to the entrance. And so, uh, I'm usually generally pretty good. And then in the colder months, I usually don't even finish most of my water. I usually end up uh, with excess water. Right now, I have a 3-liter Camelback in my backpack, and I also have a little, I don't know if it's like 12 or 16 ounces canteen with some hydration in it, with a hydration packet and some water. So I've got some water, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm like guzzling it down like a lot faster. Let me show you guys a little bit of this trail. I'm guzzling it down a lot faster than I normally do, and that has me a little bit worried. Not worried, but I'm just cognizant of it, that I need to watch it and pay attention to it, because otherwise I'm gonna end up having to walk through this kind of terrain without any water in. It's just, I mean, it's hot right now. It's like over 100 degrees, and the other thing you forget about is not just the heat, but like the constant exposure to the sun. Like when you're outside, you get on the heat, but then you come under like a canopy of a tree, or you get into a parking lot, or you get under some shade. Excuse me. But here, you can't get away from anything. So you're out here just walking in the sun, and there's very few rest areas. I have a backpacking chair, and I thought about bringing it today. That way I could set it up and sit down anywhere, but I didn't want to carry a bunch of stuff, so I didn't bring it. And now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I should have brought it, But that's always the case. I'm always overpacking, and then I'm like, it's actually kind of comical because I tend to overpack on some things, and then I tend to like be so scatterbrained that I forget like some of the essentials sometimes. So, I mean, I don't know what your definition of comedy is, but me packing for a hike in the morning, or getting ready to go camping, that's something, because it's always an issue. But anyways, I'm trying to get more organized. I've got a gear storage box for my camping stuff, and let me show you guys this. I got this cool little bag here I picked up. This little accessory that you can like strap onto your backpack straps, and it actually holds my phone, and that solves a problem that I've had for a while, because I hated whenever I came out here, like if I carried my phone in my backpack, it was too inaccessible. But I don't like to have it like on hand, and I don't like to have it like in my pants either, because I just don't like having the bulk. Even though sometimes I wear cargos, or sometimes I wear technical pants that have like several pockets. I try to keep them clean, or I just try to keep them like with just a couple of essentials, maybe like a knife, a compass, the map usually, and then maybe like, I don't know, maybe another safety item like the safety whistle is really not that necessary. I mean, if you stop somewhere, you can pull it out of the backpack, but just the things you need on hand, or just the things you need quick access to. I actually had my bandana earlier in one of the cargo pockets, but I put it around my neck. That's to keep the sun off my neck, because the sun is brutal right now. It's beating down pretty hard, and I think I made the mistake of putting my chapstick somewhere in the backpack. So as soon as I find a place to stop somewhere in a few minutes, hopefully there's like a bench or a rock or something I can sit down on and kind of take a break. But yeah, I need to apply some lip balm before my lips start cracking. And so anyways, guys, I've been standing here for a few minutes on the trail, just yammering away. I talked to a guy earlier, and I didn't get the conversation on camera, but it was pretty helpful, the information he gave me, and I'm glad he steered me away from getting caught up in a freaking 10-mile hike, because I mean, then this really would have probably been like the last freaking broadcast, or that's assuming I would have had a chance to upload it before I passed out or something. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try calling an audible. I'm gonna keep going on the Toothaker Trail and see if I can hit the I think it's called the Rainbow Valley. If I can't make it to that, I'll just turn around, and we'll just take it as like, hey, it's just a nice walk in the brutal heat. But we'll try to finish this out so we can have some sort of resolution to this story. All right, see you guys. What's going on, guys? Hey, I took a little break just now. The heat is intense today. I stopped for a little electrolyte break, and I actually have a different short sleeve shirt that I might change into because this is insane. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the Rainbow Valley. Honestly, it's pretty hot out here, and I'm going through my water really quickly. The other thing I hate is that I have a backpacking chair that you can set up outdoors, and it's pretty light. And I was gonna bring it today just so I could have somewhere to like set up a seat if I wanted to. But I thought to myself, nah, you know what? Why hassle with something like that? Why bring along extra stuff? There's always rocks that you can find out, rocks and stuff like that you can sit on, which there are. And that's actually what I'm doing. I'm sitting on a rock right now. If you can see it, but the thing I didn't account for though is that when they're out in the sun all day, they're like piping hot. So right now I just sat down and I've been sitting on this rock for like 20-25 seconds, and it feels like my butt is like sizzling on a griddle. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to sit down for too long, but just thought I'd check in with you guys and let you know how it's going. Honestly, if you're gonna try hiking in the desert, like, you need to leave the house like at 4 in the morning, I think. Keep it very short and be way less aggressive in your itinerary. Maybe it might not be a bad idea to at least bring a towel along, so if you sit down somewhere, you're not sitting on hot rock. And if possible, man, just I don't know why I do this to myself sometimes. I enjoy being out here, but at the same time, I'm like, Jesus, this is out of hand. But I guess it's like to say no pain, no gain. Like, the one thing I do like is the feeling of relaxation after a good hike. So I'm hoping I don't know if I'll make it to Rainbow Valley. I'm gonna try to make it to Rainbow Valley, but if not, between what I've done so far and getting back to the entrance, it'll be a pretty good hike, and I'll be probably pretty sunburned actually. And then I'll have the rest of the day to just chill. So it should work out, but in the meantime, I've got to wrap this up because my rear end right now is just burning like crazy sitting on this rock. So I'll check in with you guys later. Thanks. Hey guys, just checking in again. Like I said earlier, I'm heading back now. Decided to call an audible on my hike, which is a little bit defeating, but at the same time, it's just smarter to be safe. Because I'm out here hiking by myself, and yeah, I let people know where I'm at and all that, but general rule is like, I've already used more than half of my water getting to where I'm at, so I gotta start thinking about heading back. So anyways, before I do though, I wanted to give you guys a panoramic view of this mountain valley that I'm in. It's pretty cool. So just before I head out, I'm standing in the middle of like a little valley. It's between the Toothaker and the Dysart Trail. And surprisingly, temperature's over 100, 110 degrees. Not a whole lot of people out here today. So I guess that's the upside. If you want to park all to yourself, head out there when no one else wants to go out there. So that's essentially, this is the way back around this way, around this mountain, and then back over towards the staging area. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm already kind of thinking about what I'm gonna do whenever I get back. Like, well, of course, the first thing I'm gonna do is shower and change. I can honestly already smell some of my BO. Like, it's pretty brutal out here today. It's pretty hot, and I've gone through my water pretty quickly. And when I stopped and took an electrolyte break, I almost downed my electrolytes in like 1 or 2 drinks. So that tells me it's pretty hot out here right now. And if I overdo it, I'm gonna end up sunburned, and it's I don't even know why I'm trying to rationalize why I'm not wanting to hang out in 110, 115 degree weather, but it is what it is. And so when I get home, I'm already kind of thinking about it right now, and that's one of the things I like to daydream about whenever I'm like finishing up my hike. Is like, Well, normally it's like, okay, am I gonna stop somewhere for lunch, or what am I gonna have for lunch, or like my post hike celebratory meal. Um, Honestly though, that chorizo taco though is, oh my god, it's it's weighing pretty heavy on my mind right now. So uh, I might just go home and just make a tea to settle my stomach. I'm thinking a roasted dandelion root tea that I have would be pretty good. Another one that'd be pretty good is I have a peppermint and fennel tea, which the peppermint and fennel one is supposed to help with digestion, but I actually like the taste of it. But the added benefit is that it helps with digestion. And probably gonna, after I shower, change into some comfortable clothes, I'm gonna go ahead and brew some tea. And let me see. Let me give you guys a view of what I'll brew some tea, and then I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna sit down with my Kindle for a little while. I've had a Kindle for a while, and I haven't really like been reading it because I'm always like really stuck on reading the old traditional paperbacks. I'm kind of old school that way, and I've been kind of really resistant about buying ebooks or renting them out or anything like that. I'm starting to get kind of practical about like the space I have, living space. Like I just have too many books, and I have them all like, I have them in boxes now. I used to have some bookshelves, but when I moved from Texas to Arizona, they weren't packed properly in the moving van, and they like jostled around a little bit, and they were kind of, I don't want to say cheap, but they were like mid-tier. They were assembled wood. They weren't like a solid piece. And then the back of the bookshelves were like weren't like particle wood, but they were like, I don't know what you call them, like fiberglass board or something. I'm not really sure what that is, but it definitely wasn't like real wood, and it was definitely kind of like a cheap faux back. Anyways, the bookshelves jostled around in the moving van and ended up getting ruined. So I like threw them away, and I put all my books into boxes, and I have them in the closet right now. But it's not really doing me much good like that because I can't access the books because I'm not digging through my closet all the time. So I kind of started going back to my Kindle, and I'm trying to be more deliberate about, I used to read a lot, but I think I've read a lot because I was motivated to read a lot. I still read a decent amount, but I remember I used to read like a tremendous amount. Whenever I was younger in school, I used to always read a lot. And even after I got out of school when I was a little bit younger, I used to like to read, sometimes for entertainment, sometimes for self-improvement. I actually started liking a lot of the like the classics, and the classics of like Western philosophy. I also just enjoy I guess what you would call like self-help business books, and then like political science type of books, or like political theory, and sometimes some humor. If the right person writes it, it's pretty funny. Like I remember reading a book written by Mike Nelson, which is one of the guys who does riff tracks, and he used to be a writer for Mystery Science Theater. That was a pretty fun read. And like I said, I've kind of fallen out of it because one of the things I noticed is that when I try to read, whenever I'm at home, I either get distracted by like YouTube or just anything, music playing or texting people. And the other thing too is that I have a bad habit of like waiting until I'm absolutely dead tired and right about to go to bed when I'll suddenly decide, okay, time to get started on this 300-page book. I'll get like a page or two into it and I'll fall asleep. So, but I've noticed that just like with a lot of things in life, the hard part is getting started. And a lot of books, like the first, I don't know, maybe like 10 to 20 pages are brutal. If they don't catch your attention right away, it's kind of hard to get into the mindset of wanting to actually read the book, having it call you. But if you can get past those first initial segues into the book, you find yourself coming back to it more and more, and I really enjoy the feeling of like finishing a book, the sense of accomplishment, and knowing that even though you don't, I mean, it's always better whenever you, especially if you read something that's like meant to improve you or meant to be something that you reflect on. It's always better if you are actively engaged with what you're reading. You know, I know I read books sometimes that suggest doing like, you know, I don't know, just write down a plan for, you know, saving money or, you know, things of that nature. And some of the things I kind of dismiss because I don't go through them. But with anything else, like your commitment to something is gonna show through in your like application of those ideas. So I try to think of reading, or at least a certain type of reading that I do that's meant for benefit or enlightenment. I kind of treat it almost like a form of exercise, mental exercise anyways. I think that once you get into the habit of just reading, even though you don't necessarily want to, or not necessarily drawn to it, it's not the easy, pleasurable thing. Like even if you go through the motion of forcing your eyes to go over the words, forcing the words into your brain, even if you're not like actively totally engaged in what you're reading, even if after you read it you kind of can't bring it up verbatim by memory afterwards, it's still incredibly useful because it still makes a change inside of you that you're not aware of. Like it affects your I guess what you would call your unconscious mind. These ideas get put into your unconscious mind, and even though you may not remember them off the top of your head, like they get disseminated to you in your dreams. When you sleep, your mind processes the things that it's gone over, and so you've stored it as kind of like an experience in your mind that even though you don't realize it, it makes a difference on you. So I remember mentioning to somebody, a former coworker one time told me he didn't like reading, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, but you got to think of it like almost like exercise or like lifting weights or anything like that. It's kind of difficult. That's good for you, but it's a little bit unpleasant at times, or it requires some sort of sacrifice or work. And you just got to you got to almost think of it that way, like the same way that a person who's not in the best physical shape has to, if they're getting started on like a fitness regimen or something, they have to force themselves to take that first step and start exerting themselves, start being uncomfortable. And that same way, a person who is not much of a reader should challenge themselves to exert themselves to at least go through the motions of reading, and force yourself to find stuff that you like to read, and then find things that you like. This is going to sound kind of nerdy, but if you can look at a book almost like the potential to add character traits or add insight into your overall personality, then it really becomes like a sense of picking and choosing what kind of traits you want to be, what kind of person you want to be. I think it's actually I don't remember if it's Aristotle or Socrates, but I think it might be Socrates. Or Socrates, however you want to call it, but it says that you are what you repeatedly do. So just think about that. Like if you read something enough, even if you're not, you know, writing it down, committing it to memory, or like actively studying it, like the way they try to tell you to do in school, just forcing yourself to go through the motions of ingesting the words, the ideas, and forcing yourself to go over forcing your eyes to go over and forcing your brain to process that stuff. Even if you don't, even if you don't really enjoy what you're reading, you'd be surprised. And I don't know if it's just me in particular. I think this is possible for anybody. But, you know, like I said, I'm also understand because sometimes I have to force myself to do things that are uncomfortable, and it's hard to get myself out of that mindset of wanting to avoid something that you're not good at, or wanting to avoid something that causes discomfort or it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. But anyways, long story short, well, I guess not really. I guess it's long story long. But I'm going to go home. I'm going to read a book on a Kindle. I've got a book I'm reading right now by a guy named Napoleon Hill that I'm reading. But I've also got another book by Carlos Castaneda that I'm halfway through, and then I've got another book on Zen philosophies that I got. That's not uncommon for me either. I like start different books and I like read them through, and then I get sidetracked. But I do finish books. I don't want you to think I'm one of these people that always just constantly start stuff. So, anyways, I think when I get home, I think it's gonna be a nice cup of tea, a little bit of lemon added to it, and then maybe read some Kindle and see how I feel after being out in the heat all day. And hopefully I don't fall asleep while I'm reading, but I'm hoping I have a good chance to chill and get a good 1 to 2 hour block of reading in, because I'm about 30% into this book I'm reading right now, and I feel like once I turn the corner and get past 50% done, then I get really incentivized to okay, let me go ahead and just hurry up and finish this thing out so I can put it away and start a new book. So anyways, I think I'm getting delirious from the heat out here, because I've just been babbling like crazy while I'm walking. And if you really think about it, I'm like out here in the desert walking with a selfie stick and talking to myself. But I'm talking to myself like if I'm talking to a huge group of people out on the internet, which I guess I am. But if anybody's walking by right now on the trail, or anybody's observing me, they're gonna see just some person all red in the face and talking about books he's read and this and what kind of tea he's gonna drink. And so wish me luck, guys. I've got a liter of water left, and I'm headed back towards the entrance. And if you see this get uploaded at some point, then that means that I made it back. So we'll consider that a win. So I'll chat with you guys in a little bit. Alright, guys. I just stopped to get some shade in this little from this little shrub. Not much shade, but there's no other shade out here, and I'm starting to feel it. So I've got maybe about a mile and a half left, but I can already start to feel my Camelback, when I just drew some water out of there, start to get bubbles, like whenever you're at the last sip of a beverage through a straw. So just gotta recoup for a second, make sure I don't take a nap or anything goofy like that out here, and I gotta get this mile and a half done, and then once I'm done, okay, stay inside for the rest of the day. I think that's gonna be the plan. So I'll see you guys in a bit.